All right, let's get right into it. MrBeast basically traps 50 of the world's biggest streamers inside a giant cube with $1 million on the line. And what we saw was this incredible mix of strategy, total chaos, and some really interesting social dynamics. So we're going to break down exactly how the first 30 streamers got the boot.
So, what does happen when you do that? I mean, you've got these huge personalities, massive egos, and alliances that could break at any second, all crammed into one spot. You could just feel the pressure building from the very first moment.
50. That's our starting number. And we're not talking about just any 50 people. These are massive influencers. You had gaming legends, IRL streamers. Basically, the whole universe of online entertainment was in that room. But yeah, spoiler alert, most of them weren't going to be there for long.
And this is what it's all about. A cool $1 million for whoever's left at the end. All of a sudden, you know this isn't just a friendly get-together. It's a fight for a huge payday. So the big question is, how do you even begin to cut down a group this big?
Well, you start with what is basically a brutal popularity contest. The first challenge, they called it the paintball purge, was just designed to stir things up right away. It forces everyone to show their cards. Who are your friends? Who are your enemies? This wasn't about skill at all. It was all about who you were willing to tick off.
And the rules? Oh, they were so simple. It was painful. Everybody gets one paintball shot, you point it at the picture of the streamer you want to see gone. And boom, the 5 people with the most paint splats on their face, they're out. Sounds easy, right? But the social math behind that decision? Oh man, that was anything but simple.
And this right here, this moment, just sums up the pure chaos. Ludwig, instead of shooting another streamer, he points his gun at the CEO of Twitch, who was just, a guest. It was this wild mix of a power move, a total joke, and honestly, a brilliant bit of strategy. It just set the stage for everything that was about to happen. You knew right then that anything was possible.
Okay, so you've got this complete free-for-all. Alliances are being made and broken in the same breath. Paintballs are flying everywhere. So what's the play? How do you survive? Do you just try to hide, go after the person who shot at you, or maybe you take a shot at the biggest threat in the room? Honestly, there was no easy answer.
And this is where it gets fascinating, because you're literally watching game theory happen live. You saw people forming these you shoot me, I shoot you back revenge packs. Others were way more strategic, trying to knock out the best players right away. Then you had the pylon strategy, which was probably the smartest, safest move. Just add your shot to someone who's already getting hit so you don't make a new enemy. And then there was pure chaos, like Pokimane accidentally hitting someone, which started a whole new beef. And one guy, Marlon, just shot his own picture, just took himself right out of the game.
So after all that paint had dried, 5 streamers were gone. And yep, that included the super chaotic XQC. The herd was officially thinned. And you can bet those remaining 45 knew things were only going to get more intense from here on out. So for the next challenge, MrBeast just casually rolls out a Lamborghini. This one was different, though. It wasn't about knocking other people out. It was a test of your own nerve, really. A pure risk-reward situation. You could win a supercar for one of your fans. But what was the cost to your own shot at that $1 million? And this is the choice they had to make, right? You could go for the car. I mean, what a huge win for your brand, an amazing gift for a fan. But if you lose, you're done. Your shot at the $1 million is over. Or you could just sit this one out and stay safe. And it's really interesting because for these streamers, their whole career is about the long game. So that shot at $1 million, that's almost always going to be more valuable than one quick viral moment.
And when it came down to it, almost everyone played it safe. Out of 45 people left, only 4, just 4, were brave enough to risk it for the Lambo. And the challenge itself was simple but tough. Put your hand on the car, blindfolded, and take it off as close as you can to the 10-minute mark. No timers allowed. Now, 2 of the guys were just trying to count in their heads, while everyone's yelling and trying to mess them up. But the other 2, they had a secret weapon. They had comms. Basically, they had friends in the audience timing the whole thing on their cameras and secretly feeding them the info. It was brilliant. A little shady maybe, but a genius way to bend the rules. And man, did it come down to the wire. The 2 players with comms lifted their hands at almost the exact same second. They had to go to the instant replay, and it showed that the French streamer Rebu was closer by just 5 frames. I mean, you can't get any closer than that. That tiny margin won a Lamborghini for one of his fans and sent 3 other competitors home. And just like that, poof, 3 more are gone. Rebu, the winner, gets to stay, but the 3 he beat, they're headed home. So now we're down to 41. And believe it or not, the next challenge is going to cut that number almost in half. All right, this next round was all about knowing yourself. The streamers that were left had to make a choice, split into two groups. Simple question: are you a gamer or are you an athlete? And making the right choice here was literally a matter of survival in the game. So as you can probably guess, most of them went with what they know. 26 of them picked the gamer route. That left 15 who were feeling brave enough to test their athletic skills. But here's the brutal twist. In both groups, more than half of them were about to be sent home. And then they revealed the challenges. The athletes, they had to face a soccer shootout against Speed, who, if you know him, is just pure energy as a goalie. And the gamers? They got dropped right into a super high-stakes game of Fortnite, the game that basically made them famous. I mean, you can just feel the pressure, right? And this is where that whole know your strengths thing really mattered. Take this quote from Nick A30. He's a legend, one of the biggest Fortnite streamers on the planet, but he chose to be an athlete. He figured it'd be something easy, like a push-up contest or something. It was a massive, massive gamble, all based on one bad guess. And yeah, that guess cost him everything. Instead of owning everyone in Fortnite, where he's a king, he's stuck in a soccer challenge and gets knocked out almost immediately. It's just the perfect illustration of how one tiny wrong move can just completely end your shot at that $1,000,000. You know, this pressure cooker they were in, it just led to some wild mistakes in both challenges. It really shows you that no matter how good you are, the pressure can just get to you. You had Fortnite pros literally just falling off cliffs and getting eliminated. And the biggest shock of all, the legendary Tfue getting knocked out. He just got outplayed at the very end. It was proof that in this game, nobody was safe. So after that absolute bloodbath in the soccer challenge and the Fortnite game, the fields was just decimated. The part of the game where it was every person for themselves, that was over. Now a totally new and way more complicated phase was about to start. So think about it. We started with 50, and now we're down to just 20. More than half the people were knocked out in that last round alone. The ones left are the survivors. They had the brains, the skills, or maybe just a whole lot of luck to get here. But now they had to learn to trust each other. And that brings us to the big question for the next phase. The top 20 had to split up into teams of 4. That $1,000,000 is starting to feel really close. So, can these streamers, who are used to being the star of their own show, actually work as a team? Or is that big prize money going to just rip their new friendships apart? That is where the real game gets started.